Same thing. And we are live.
We are live, and the video so good. So we're ready. How are you, Alexander? Very nice to have you.
The video is great, so I don't regret to sing one more time.
How are? Oh,
We're here. We can start. Yeah? Do you hear me?
I can hear you perfectly. That video decided to play twice. What is wrong? Good.
It already played.
It played a lot of times. How are you, Alexander? So glad to have you here with us.
I'm really glad too. Very excited to be here on Legends of Lightning. And yeah, nice to see you.
You got extra lightning today.
Extra lightning.
So Alexander, Sasha for short, from what I understand, thank you so much for joining us here at Bold Fun. As you know, we are running a hackathon and there is a month to go with Fulgur Ventures. And so we are hosting you because I understand that you can help the builders in our community to kind of understand branding, strategy, like what it is that Bitcoiners and fintech people really expect from the code that you're building and how you can better communicate this. And so, I wanted to give you the floor to like tell us who you are, how you went down the rabbit hole, and where you learned about all this crazy stuff.
Thank you for inviting me here. I hope I have enough experience to tell something interesting and give a helping hand to the builders. And hello, builders that are watching us right now. Actually, I worked for some fintechs, one of which is Alpha Bank in Russia, that is the largest private bank and one of the best fintechs maybe in the world. And after that, I worked as art director for Bitpolito, that is a university team in Turin here in Italy that educate guys in university, and they have organized even the scholar program that's called Big Generation last year, that finished on the website of NASDAQ.
Oh, wow.
And, yeah. And that was a great course on Bitcoin, introductive one for guys of 15, 16 years old from the high school.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And now
right
you're with Nuova Bottega. Tell us about that.
Yeah. Nuova Bottega is my main project, actually, and that's the fashion house. That's the fashion house, and I'll talk about it. I'll give more details in the presentation I have prepared for you. Its name is Bitcoin Fall Winter 2024, like a fashion show, like a runway. And I believe we could do much better for communicating Bitcoin to the masses. I mean, not only the large audience, but the non-Bitcoiner audience to bring Bitcoin outside of the bubble, uh, and to give some pieces of advice, some tips for builders that are creating their own startups on different projects, um, how not to repeat the mistakes of the banks, uh, and how to conquer their piece of market, um, becoming concurrence with the fiat banks, with the fiat fintechs. I find it pretty useful. Let's see what will think the builders that are following Legends of Lightning. So maybe let's start. Uh, yeah, it's like that. That's true. My name is Alexander Radionov, and the presentation is Bitcoin Fall Winter 2024. And to start with, I'd like to tell two words about the main communication in the industry, and I mean the study Bitcoin action. Because I'm pretty mad about that. What I mean, study Bitcoin. Know what study Bitcoin is? It's when we project the large orange bee with words study Bitcoin before it was buy Bitcoin, even worse, even water, and we projected on the strongholds of fiat institutions, financial fiat institutions like central banks and the normal banks, maybe also the private banks, to show to the world that Bitcoin is being studied. But really, you don't think anyone would study things by seeing a sticker on a lamppost, like we put study Bitcoin, or seeing a bee projected on the building? It doesn't work like that. So maybe the communication works in a different way. We cannot not to communicate. It's impossible. So doing this and doing this constantly, we communicate something, and that communications maybe works, but that communication is internal. We do it not for the masses. We do it for ourselves, to show ourselves. It's made for our own narcissism. We show to ourselves that we know something, sort of an esoteric knowledge that anyone knows but us, and we are happy to retweet it, to post it everywhere, showing look, it lasted 21 minutes. So cool. So stunning and brave. But much more brave is kind of a Greenpeace that mocks us for the same thing, but they having good designers, good motion designers, good experts in communication. They create a great campaign giving us a very unpleasant slap, and we cannot respond anything. You remember that that day they posted that great video made with drones, with the same stuff projected on New York skyscrapers, about Larry Fink, about Jamie Dimon, and the BlackRock. So Bitcoin was mocked, and that was done perfectly, I could say. What was the response of our community that time? We said, nah, they didn't, they absolutely missed the point. But know what? Yeah, they can be liars, they can be scammers, they can be fiat, and that's absolutely true. And they are much better in lying, being liars, than us in telling the truth we believe in. So the problem of the communication of Bitcoin itself, uh, I find it's I find it pretty important and pretty bad. With the experience of a year in Bitpolito, when I have brought Bitcoin to the good design and brought good design into Bitcoin, in 1 year without money, actually under the institution, the fiat institution of the state university, we have created one of the strongest brands in the industry with deleting absolutely the orange and the black from our communications. Why that? Because the orange in the black on the black is the fire in the cave, and we are actually staying in this cave, um, reposting, retweeting the photos of a large Bitcoin symbol that lasted, wow, 21 minutes on the building. So great. These are the results we have in communications. Uh, for a year and a half, I worked as chief designer in Alpha Bank, as I told you previously, and right now I'm working on Nuova Bottega, that is the fashion house. You see, nowhere I use the orange and the black, because the orange needs to escape from the cave and to see the sky. That's why it's all blue. Um, and last year, no, this year in 2023, I finished my research actually for the university about fintech in Russian Italy. And when I tell Italy, it means Europe. And when it means Europe, it kind of means the West. Uh, and comparison insights for the improvement. Actually, there are tips for fintechs I brought from Russian experience, where the concurrence is really hard and dense, to Italian banks. But I wouldn't like that these experience would finish in the banks. Much better if would be applied in Bitcoin. That
Where
I
is
like.
this? Where is this research so that we can link it as well later potentially? Is
Uh,
it possible to read online or no?
it's possible to read online. It's on the website of Polytechnic of Turin, like any research, any scientific
Okay.
research
You'll
and
send me the
thesis.
link later and I'll add it to our.
But the point is that it's only in Italian. Uh, so
Okay, I
if
can read it, I think.
you can find it there. I'll give you a link.
Wonderful.
For example, one of very well-known Bitcoiners has asked me to share this work with him, and
Hmm.
he appreciated it a lot. Um,
We have
so
wonderful Italian Bitcoiners, so yes.
he is not Italian, and that's the point. Yeah, he is not Italian, so he has found a way to study it, and he
Read it.
appreciated it.
Oh,
Maybe
wonderful.
if you are brave enough, you'll
With my
find
Spanish.
translators, yeah, good translators,
Nice.
um, to read it. And there was a comparison of 7 Italian fintechs, two of which are related to Bitcoin, as Conio and Young Platform, um, and 7 Russian banks, some big Russian banks, of which was created the very particular and rich um, fintech matrix. And this matrix, we have 68, Alexei, 68 characteristics and functions of different fintechs, comparison of the brand identity of 14 criterias, and 14 banks and fintechs compared in a yeah, in pure justice. One of criteria was, for example, multi-channel customer support. And you see, while in Russia, every bank can respond you by phone, write you a mail, respond you even on messengers and social networks, like you can write them on Instagram, Twitter, etc., and they will respond and help you personally, not like the press center, but like customer support. If you tell your this one you have problems with the app, so you can use so you can be helped in different ways. In Italy, only 3 of 7 fintechs and banks uh, do the same way, and none of 2 fintechs related to Bitcoin have this function. That is important, because while your service is not perfect as an interface, as I don't know, as functions that it could be bugged, it could have different problems, you must uh, have a multi-channel support, because people could have problems with access. Uh, while Russian banks can permit you messenger banking, pure functions of their app inside of messengers and social networks. For example, you can have access to your bank account on VK, that is Russian Facebook. That's a messenger banking bot, and that works even on Telegram. You can use it. While in the apps, they have functions of very advanced fintechs, like you can split your bill of a supermarket, of a dinner in a cafe or restaurant with your friends. Maybe we're in 6 and we have we've had a great dinner and we would like to split uh, the bill. You can do it on the app. And as I know, many guys in Lightning and Bitcoin, especially, um, are working on similar functions, and that is great. I'm really happy something like that succeeds already in our industry. But uh, Russian fintechs have much more. For example, they have voice assistants, and all of the banks have voice assistant, um, as you have Siri or Google Assistant on your phone. You have one, while Sber, one of the biggest Russian bank, maybe the biggest one of Russian banks, has 3 of them, 3 different voice assistants, and they all work for different purposes, while Siri is pretty stupid. And you need to admit that she doesn't respond anything. Well, one is for Alpha Bank, I work for, and you can send money, withdraw your money with your voice. You can relate these voice assistant Alf to Siri. See here. You can pay for network and your phone Wi-Fi with only your voice, and use your cashback also using just your voice. And the most advanced voice assistant is one by Tinkoff. Tinkoff Bank has that voice assistant. Its name is Oleg Highfulger, and that can respond you that can respond automatically and independently to scammers that are recognized by scammers, and to troll them, to record their dialogue, and to give it to you as text, and also registration on the app. Uh, and it trolls them really, really in a very funny way. And all this stuff came to a Russian industry not out of nowhere. We've had a Rocket Bank that doesn't exist anymore, and that's a pity because they have brought their heredity is the good design in fintech industry. Actually, Russian banks did not exist. They could not exist for different reasons uh, in the Soviet Union. So after the Soviet Union, they started to appear, and they started already with the best functionalities, with all the technical progress that was in the 90s. So they already started in the age of in the era of internet. They had internet.
Yeah, they
uh,
basically leapfrog, no?
yeah. So the banks, for example, in Europe or in the United States, that started in mm, 19th century or even before, they just needed to handle with the background they had, while Russian banks had nothing to lose, and they started already with the web. These kind of plastic cards that Rocket Bank has made in 2019 or before 2018, Italian banks do not have even in 2023. The Instagram Rocket Bank had before they closed, so before 2021. um, is a level not reachable by Italian banks even now.
If they were so
Uh,
good, what happened? Why did they close?
they didn't. They had business problems. They were good in design, but that doesn't mean you're sustainable as business. They didn't find their customer, as I know, and they closed for business reasons because money doesn't watch good design. While in Italy, actually, in Bitpolito, we applied the approach of Russian banks, and
Mhm.
yeah, our Instagram and Bitpolito is really, really beautiful, and you should follow it because you know this kind of content is to be liked. While Italian Instagrams is like that of the banks. Maybe not follow the banks on Instagram, but you know, the level
Follow
of design
Bitpolito.
it's not comparable. It's tragically bad. Like that with stock photos. You see that they do not attract people. They do not attract people. They do not attract people with that. It's just a formal thing. They just need to have. They had a task to create an Instagram profile. They do not have followers. They do not prepare their content. They do not have content plans. It's just like press page of the website, and no one raised that. While Russian banks, before Instagram was banned on Russian territory for the war by Russian government, they had this kind of content, and that's a very different level. That is Instagram profile of Tinkoff with their advanced voice assistant. They do fashion shootings. They invite fashion photographers to create their contents, and I do it like that. That's pretty beautiful. Like that, they collaborate with artists, and this one, I don't know, is beatmaker or rapper. Uh, Alpha Bank collaborated with, well known Russia. Uh, they do different types of merch. For example, this is typical merch of Sberbank. They have online store of things, of clothings, and Alpha Bank collaborated with Crocs, did this type of merch. While in Italy, and in Europe, when every time I say Italy, I mean Europe. They have, for example, hoodies with logo, the heart, the typical ones that are those are formal. You just create merch because you have a task to make merch. Uh, that could be used as gifts on different events, but they do not have events because these are banks. And in Italy, they do not develop the marketing part. And if they do not that, we as Bitcoiners should occupy this niche. And that's a huge opportunity for us as community. We need to, we cannot to lose. We
Yeah.
have
We're
to,
still stuck in the t-shirt phase, right?
what?
We're still stuck in the printing t-shirts phase when it comes to
Yeah,
merch.
yeah, or I'll speak about that in next slides. Let's finish with Alpha Bank's merge. That's pretty great. For example, this backpack is used by couriers, the
Couriers,
ones
yeah.
couriers that bring you documents and cards. By um, the collaboration with Crocs, you see the photo. Yeah,
Do they,
no better
who wears
to,
this? Just to be clear, like the staff of the bank or people actually from the street buy them?
the limited collections of merch are being sold on eBay
Ah,
for the tens of prices of these goods. And people in Russia, they wear Crocs by Alpha Bank. Why not? If you
hmm,
want Crocs, if it's not too cold outside, you you can put them on. Why not? I
yeah,
do
I
not
do.
like Crocs, but I appreciate the approach, the collaboration of a
Yeah,
band with Crocs, with a fashion brand, and the designers that worked on this kind of stuff. Uh, they worked. Some of them worked in fashion brands. The photographers, the models. For example, the models for this collection worked even for Gucci, and I think we need to take Russian banks as an example to do merchandising and especially merchandising, but marketing in general, because they have this type of concurrence and to conquer the that piece of market actually occupied by fiat banks. We need to be two or three heads taller than them, and that's pretty easy to reach as level
yeah,
because in Europe the banks are, I don't want to say dead, but they are dead. As marketing, as services, they are that as interfaces. They just all the market is uniform, and all the best fintechs Italians have as examples to follow are made by Russians. Revolut is made by one Russian, one Ukrainian. Wirex is made entirely by Russians, and yeah, of course, when you have two apps made by Russians brought with experiences of Russian banks to Europe, and you have them as an example, yeah, for them it doesn't mean a problem, but that is a huge problem, a really huge problem. Um, we as Bitcoiners pretending to create these services for an alternative economy, we need to uh, catch this opportunity and to use it.
Yeah, I just
Uh,
saw Voltage flip flops in the airport recently, and I go, "Wow, those are cool. I want some." They were innovating with the branding. I thought they were really nice.
mm,
Okay,
yeah,
this is nice. What is this?
is a spot collection by Tinkoff. They designed the things and the collection starting from the purpose of uh, the goods, not just by applying their logo to pre-made stuff. And we, as Bitcoiners, we have a really low culture of communication, really low visual culture. It's one-dimensional. Uh, it's mm, it's concentrated in some memes, not ideas or images, not context of things and not context of ideas. Bitcoiner is happy by seeing a large B on his pre-made H&M t-shirt. That the approach, it's absolutely fiat. It's not Bitcoin. We recognize. Just a second. And speaking of, us study Bitcoin, the communications of Bitcoin are fine if we are not interested in reaching new audience in mass adoption. If we really believe in mass adoption, we need to start speaking with people outside of the bubble. We must. We have no other chance, because mass adoption is not about explaining study Bitcoin. It's about explaining Bitcoin. Every conference is about explaining how Bitcoin works and what are the values, but you cannot explain anything to people that have no time to speak on. Yeah, you'll seem a sectant, a cultist, by stopping people on bus stops and talking to them about Bitcoin. As there is such a thing. Would you like to speak about our God? It doesn't work like that. People will not have even 15 minutes to talk to you. They just need to be attracted by things we do, by our visual culture, by our culture and our values we represent. And there are a lot of people that share the values we have. Someone uh, in 2020 in United States voted for Trump, for example, and they feel alone. Bitcoin that represents much of values, and that is not only an economical value but even a political one. Uh, the values that people already have, but that are not Bitcoiners. Uh, they need to see they're not alone, and the side that represents their values has an attractive and a positive uh, visual and cultural proposal. We need to share, we need to um, spread that message. And as culture, let's have an example. Everyone recognizes fiat in different services that are not even economical. For example, McDonald's is not a bank. Yeah, they sell hamburgers, but we recognize them as fiat. We recognize H&M as fiat. Why? Because fast food, fast fashion, blockbusters that do not remain, that do not respect the criteria of low time preference, of self economical sovereignty, they seem as closer to fiat, not to Bitcoin. And what are the examples of Bitcoin culture? As Bitcoiners, we don't have ones, but as non-Bitcoiners, we have a lot of examples. For example, Quentin Tarantino's films, yeah, Golden Age of Hollywood, good music. Lana Del Rey is a good example of Bitcoin in the pop music. Why that? Yeah, for different reasons. And as Nuova Bottega, we have the example of Yves Saint Laurent that in 1967 has brought African culture, African, yeah, African culture of clothing to the runways, to the fashion shows, to the shootings. Thank Yves Saint Laurent that we have Naomi Campbell, and it changed the fashion world with the proposal of African tribes that had these kind of national costumes. The same thing we can do with Bitcoin, bringing that as trend to the mass market from the top, from deluxe, associating Bitcoin to some kind of experience one has buying things using money. And as Nuova Bottega, we would like to strongly associate Bitcoin to the buying of lux. When you buy something uh, precious, when you buy something of high price, some expensive luxury stuff, you paid in Bitcoin. Why? Just because that is an experience constructed by companies, by producers of these things, and you as a customer, just because the experience of buying in Bitcoin and using Bitcoin services made by you, dear builders, I didn't forget about you, made by you, that represent um, the best experience of buying. Yeah, let's see some things, some concepts of Nuova Bottega. Yeah, and maybe let's come back to the research. Let me give you two tips, practical tips that you can apply to your services and the way you can handle your businesses to conquer the market of European fintechs. The first one is you should internalize marketing and communication. The full involvement of in-house designers in processes offers you numerous significant advantages over outsourcing. It's much more efficient than having to outsource designers, or that's even worse, to construct the brand by an agency and not to develop it after. The internalizing allows the brand to develop in a certain direction and ensures you in closer coordination, and you interact much closer with designers on different projects and communications they do. And concentrating communication inside, no, concentrating the designers within the company helps to ensure better and continuous brand development. For example, the SMM, the social media managers, they can easily communicate and harmonize the messages with the designers that create the templates, and that use templates made before directly by them, reducing the possibility of communications becoming outdated and random. That's really useful to internalize, because you know these way that your communications are coherent and that are not being interrupted by different studios. The visual identity, uh, the thing that comes from the first tip, is never enough. Like, you internalize, cause visual identity is not enough to have a good and coherent brand. For example, we have Conio analyzed previously in my research, that have made the branding in Milano by an agency, but not followed, but that is not being followed and developed on their social networks. Like, they have two templates, and all of the communication of Conio is like that. They have an Instagram profile that uses the same templates made by the agency, but they do not know how to make it bigger, how to make it richer as brand and branding. The third one is the customer experience. Just customer experience is the key, is king. The fintech sector plays a really important role in defining the future of banking and interactions with money. And you, as Bitcoiners, you do project interactions with funds, and a pleasurable experience with you as service and your customer, with someone's money, the equivalent of a value, with something that represents value itself, is becoming increasingly important to customers, and fintech brands need to really focus not only on safe storage of funds, but also on creating a unique and enjoyable experience for your clients. And to achieve the goal, you need not only to be the financial advisors, but you need programmers, marketers, and experienced engineers to create a gamification of your services. Programmers could help to develop innovative technology. The solutions marketers work on creating the brand image and the appearance of that brand image outside of your company and on the market and outside of the market. And experienced engineers ensure that every single customer and his contact with the brand is being optimized. The essence of the fintech industry is to offer customers not only their money, because they could keep money under the mattress, but to create an experience of interacting with it. This approach, it makes fintech brands more attractive and valuable to customers that are seeking unique solutions and a special experience in managing their funds. Try new things. You are the representation of an alternative economy. You are creating services that should attract people out of fiat services to the Bitcoin ones. So your proposal should be really special. If it's not, I don't know what are we talking about here, because if not Bitcoin as services, you cannot attract masses to the philosophy. You cannot attract masses to the idea of self-custody, because a lot of people, much more people you know, and much more people than you think, has no problems with the state. They just they are just okay with the
Following the rules.
yeah, just not about the rules. I forgot the word. To let their funds become the responsibility of the state. They can, uh,
Self custody.
yeah, yeah. They are just okay that their money are being managed by something that is not them.
Well, I mean,
They,
that's what they're used to, right? That's what they're used to. They don't
yeah,
know the difference, and they don't
they do
know,
not.
or maybe
Yeah,
they're afraid of the responsibility too, no?
sure. They could be afraid of the responsibility, so the responsibility you bring as Bitcoiners should be the secondary thing. It's difficult to understand it, but the idea of giving you the self custody to with bringing the self custody uh, is not enough to convince a lot of people, to convince the masses to Bitcoin, to come to Bitcoin. It's just not enough, because they'll say, but I do nothing wrong. I'm not a drug dealer. I'm not a criminal, so I have nothing to hide. And in Europe, people say this much more often than United States. That's a common view of the masses. They are okay with um, to let the states operate with their funds. They believe that the state is something that just works. They believe in the democracy. Let's say that. Try new approaches to advertising. Modern brands must go beyond the traditional methods of advertising and marketing, and they have to use bolder and more innovative solutions to attract attention, because the quantity of advertising among a common person is enormous, and you need to compete. And that's why I need to try different things. For example, the awesome example is the Sphere in Los Angeles, for example, is great. People like it, and I personally like it. To advertise services this way could be really
The
awesome.
the Sphere in Los Angeles. What is it? I'm sorry, I'm not familiar.
Is it's an enormous semisphere that is all that's all surface is screen,
Oh, okay.
and it's, I don't know, it's like uh, 7 floors high, or even more, maybe 10 or 13. I don't know. It's really enormous, um, and all its surface is an enormous, gigantic screen.
To
And
advertise.
yeah, to advertise and to do different things. And it attracts attention, and yeah, or fintechs can afford uh, to do not only expensive types of advertising, but creative and unconventional approaches, just to integrate themselves into areas of their customers' lives, and offering new ways to interact with money. It may be just unexpected integrations, typical ones, like redesign office spaces. Yeah. It could be the creation of fashion collections, as I showed you previously, and to make events. Uh, you can train your employees in défilé. Yeah, your uh, employees like coders could become models. Why not? Yeah, that could be pretty fun. Uh, it takes creativity, and
Yeah.
that doesn't mean the price. Because of course, this sphere in Los Angeles costs millions per minute. But no, other thing. Let's change topic. Diversify platforms, and always prepare for the worst. And we, as Bitcoiners, as developers in Lightning, should be ready to uh, restrictions and limitations by states. And you need always doing marketing to be ready to diversify in 2022. Me as Russian, I was in Moscow the 24th of February when Putin started the invasion in Ukraine, and I have participated as employee of Alpha Bank uh, on projects like the branding to remain in stores, App Store, Google Play, that continuously deleted the app out of there. We needed to debrand the apps and the surfaces to apply marketing as guerrilla marketing, uh, to tell our clients and customers about the situation and to make them download the apps that didn't seem the apps by the banks, to compete with scammers in the branding and in letting understand, the departments responsible um, for creating the strong brand needed to go backwards and to debrand the app, letting it remaining recognizable by its own clients. That thing will remain in design history. To deplatformize and to change platforms from Instagram to Telegram to reach the audience there, to support one other, like Alpha Bank here supports the Sberbank when its app was deleted from App Store, and they are enormous concurrents. Uh, they are big companies that in other situation never and ever would mention their competitors on their channels, but here the situations stricten them to cooperate, to support concurrence.
You mean the platforms blacklisted the apps, and so you had to work around it?
Yeah, yeah. App Store deleted all the apps of Russian banks in 2022.
Were you able to upload them again
Yeah,
with the new
and
branding?
we did it again and again, changing icons, changing logos, changing approaches, and agencies, producers, yeah, to
Got it.
maintain the continuous service given to our clients. That was our duty. The next thing, the TOV, the tone of voice. You need to know uh, the one who receives your message. The right communication style is a key element of communication itself with the audience, to understand the message, to understand your client and to understand your audience, using info style, and that's the term invented by Maxim Ilyahov. That's about copywriting in facts, not in friendly communicating of facts, not in writing poems, and not in multiplying the essences in your communication in a friendly and clear way, in friendly language without excessive formalism and ridiculous humor could help establish an emotional connection with the customers to
I
avoid
mean, I think,
cliche.
yeah,
Yeah,
I think in this point I get it, because I do think a lot of us internally, we love to just like, we're in this like, we're gonna break the banks, we're gonna break the banks, which is super good internally. But when you're trying to onboard users, maybe it's, we're a better alternative to banks, is a more like you say, friendly tone of voice, and more
yeah.
like inclusive, like come here because we're better, not come here because we're destroying.
And but
And
yeah,
I do
yeah,
think
yeah.
that that's important for us to understand, that to onboard users, the tone has to be different. So I agree
You
with it.
know, every Bitcoin conference seems to be really, really aggressive. We are honey badgers. You know why we have chosen the mascot of honey badger? Because
Tell
no
us.
one likes honey badgers. It's just like that. Yeah, and that's the real reason. In the nature, honey badgers have no enemies because they are really, yeah, antipathic. Uh, and yeah, we use them to communicate that no one likes us, and we don't like anyone. We're just aggressive and stay aside. But that's the
I
really
mean, I
bad
think it was a very
communication.
useful way to create a tribe. But to expand the
Yeah,
tribe, there is important tones
yeah,
or words choices that can be better,
exactly,
if we want to grow the user base, right? That I think is the
exactly.
question.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. Pretty right. And that's why we like orange and black, because we like as a tribe to stay in the cave around the fire. And
Well, I mean, I think
that's
also that
true.
is changing, because I don't like to wear merch that has the big B on it. I think it attracts. I am afraid of wearing it. I think that we're expanding how we brand, but I do agree. For example, there's still this like rock band, like it has to be ugly, and if it's not ugly, then it's not of the tribe. And I think there are certain projects and companies that are starting to shift.
Us, us, Nuova
Yes.
Bottega.
Oh, well,
Uh,
let me show you my very, very fashion forward
yeah,
Colombia. I did this. This is my Colombian bag. And then I just bought a little sticker and added to it. But then you
great.
can't really tell. And then here's my other one. I wear this at conferences sometimes. For El Salvador, I got myself a hat. And then I just added the sticker, the
Song would appreciate that.
right? Yeah. Well, he has the more cowboy one. This is my Panamanian hat.
Okay, okay.
But yeah, I think like we have to expand how we
We
wear the
have to.
merch and what we put
We
our
have to
logos on.
only. Mhm.
That's
I'm sorry.
important.
We have to only if we believe in mass adoption. Mm, if we don't want to reach that, if we are okay with the quantity of people that just use Bitcoin and stays inside of the bubble, we are doing fine in communication in communicating our tribe inside of our tribe, and that works. If we are okay with the status quo, we don't need to change anything. If instead we would like to reach the mass adoption, we need to change things to change the approach. But uh, you I believe uh, that someone of startuppers uh, follows us, and understand that you as a startupper probably have your friend that is your partner in making this project, in creating this business, and understand that you cannot afford one more employee right now, and that is more than okay. But listen with all the attention. The third person inside of your company, inside of your startup, should be a specialist in marketing, in an art director, and a state designer, a head designer that would maintain uh, your brand to communicate things to the big audience. Because it's really great. You are working on an awesome code, the best code ever written. I really appreciate it as one that participates the community, and that's really great. You're doing fine, but without communicating this code, no one will just use it. It would be equal to a dead project, even if it's written in a fine way. But if it doesn't have audience, people around, it could be considered dead.
Yeah, I
And
always ask people, like, why is this code important? What problem you're solving? And then why do we need it now? Like, why is it urgent that you have this code in your life, or this solution in your life? And if you can answer those two questions, I think that is an important direction towards your brand and your strategy and your communications to the world. Because code is crucial, but communicating, what I say is articulate. Articulate is very key.
yeah, yeah, just like that.
Tone of voice. So we're at tone of voice.
Yeah, the next tip was to contextualize. Um, hmm, context. You you can have different messages for different audiences, because your service could be used by more people, by very different people. And to distinguish the messages, to show to different target groups the reason to use your services, and to create services especially for different target groups, could just multiply your audience and your clients. While one message might focus on the bank's bold image, positioning itself as an opinion leader in lifestyle, at the same time, another message related to the app interface could underline, empathize. Yeah, like that. Does this word exist? Empath, em, 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 emphasize. Yeah, like
Empathize or emphasize?
emphasize maybe.
Okay. To put more
The
strength to
thanks,
the
yeah,
word.
really, yeah, like that. The banks focus on providing stable services, uh, reliable and trusted. And this approach, it achieves consistency with the bank's positioning in different contextual interactions with its own clients, and uh, different points in the user journey. Uh, it can be applied to different formats, like emails to customers, the website, social media, other interaction channels can be different, and that is more than okay. You need to understand the context in which one interacts with your group, and different target groups in different channels need to reach a consistent and coherent message, need to get these consistent message, and to understand the service, your lightning service, um, in different contexts of their customer experience. The next one is that you don't need to reinvent things. If something already exists, just do not lose time on redeveloping it. Uh, I know that a lot of developers in Bitcoin industry and Bitcoin community, they are perfectionists. That's great, me too. But if we cannot lose time using already made plugins, open source stuff, uh, let's use it, because we do not have time to wait while CBDC will conquer the world. We just need to appear earlier, just create things that work, and do not do things our colleagues are uh, have already made for us. We believe in open source, and let's use it. Merge. Let's speak about merge. Do not stop using the large B. Stop using the don't trust, verify slogans and all this one-dimensional stuff. For the merge, invite specialists in merge. Work with designers. Start working with designers. Yeah, thing outside the orange. And working with designers give more autonomy to the creative departments. Let them express themselves. Let them create the new image of Bitcoin. To achieve bolder marketing, you need to keep the creative department in the very artistic autonomy and confidence. They need to be confident in what they do. In the Italian design community and environment, there's often a tendency for CEOs and managers to put their hands in creative processes, to dominate creative professionals, because they just believe they just believe marketing and design are just about keeping things pretty. And if they, as CEOs and managers, do not find them pretty, they would like to participate in creating the prettier thing. While more autonomy to the departments could bring your projects and services to other levels. It's important to provide your creative departments, creative teams, with sufficient resources to support them. So these guys, these specialists, are free to develop their own ideas and to create proposals. Working with Alpha Bank, I got the importance of this approach, and I'm really thankful to my art director, to the guys, my ex-colleagues, for doing the great job. I have seen the industry that's much bigger than anything, than any creative industry in Italy. Maybe the design community in Italy is less active than Russian fintech design community. That's true. And integrate into the creative community. Just become part of it. If different designers that are there is a tendency in design universities that they spread actually the left propaganda. That's true. They do that. Uh, so a lot of designers that finish creative universities, design universities, they are, if not communists, but at least socialists, and often green socialists. Of course, they do not share the Bitcoin values. Of course, that's true. Find me any socialist in Bitcoin community. There are there are no such guys. And if we show, but creating good designers inside of good Bitcoin community is quite impossible. We need to have our own design universities. We need to spend years and decades to create specialists from Bitcoiners. It's really, really difficult. It's much easier to attract already good specialists in Bitcoin, or already good specialists in design and visual communications to Bitcoin. So to bring Bitcoin as idea and as an industry with high potentials to design community, to the creative community. Uh,
I think
just
I think this, just so you, it's also good in this context. I think this particular hackathon and the ones that we run with Bold Fun, it is very design oriented actually. So a lot of our participants collaborate with designers and they understand. In fact, one of the judging criteria that we have internally is UX UI and user interface.
it's
So
UX
this is
UI. It's
this is a
yeah.
really critical part of how we judge projects, and the teams know this. So they have collaborated with incredible artists, incredible thinkers in the space. And in fact, Bold Fun is run by Peak Shift and Johns Behari. He's very well known in the Bitcoin design community space. So it is something that we really pay attention to. And that's why it's really great that you come and tell us and remind us to stay outside of the orange and to think outside of breaking the bank and outside of our bubble so that we can bring more users. It's really important. We agree with you.
Yeah, and I'm really happy it's like that. But there are always
More work to be done.
no, 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 no. They are always UX UI, at least. The Bitcoin.design as website and Bitcoin.design as Discord chat is about UX UI. And I'm happy there are UX UI designers in Bitcoin, but there are no art directors in Bitcoin and visual communication designers in Bitcoin. And that's it, and that is a different piece of industry. So we need to attract not only UX UI designers. Of course, your services need firstly the UX UI ones, but there are also marketers. There are also designers of advertisement, of events, of customer experience. And customer experience is not only your user experience, that is different. So attract more designers. We, as Nuova Bottega, bring Bitcoin to the creative industry at like fully creative industry, the fashion one, with the aim not only to create the positive image of Bitcoin, but also to show designers that there is such a thing as Bitcoin and such a thing as industry of Bitcoin services inside of the fintech community and environment. We bring Bitcoin to designers to bring designers in Bitcoin. And I want you to follow our example and to follow Nuova Bottega on Instagram. Thank you. That's all. I can answer any question, and I finished. I do not hear you. I'm sorry. I do not hear.
my
Yeah,
my
yeah,
buttons are
yeah.
lit, so thank you, Alexander. So what I got, and I agree completely with you, is we have to think outside the orange. We have to expand how we present the brand, that it's not just break the banks, it's that we're a better solution to banks. And that we have to bring more creatives and more designers and art directors into the space. Which I mean, we're very lucky to have a vibrant community, but I do agree that we need more of them. And so with your talk, we want to make sure that we're inviting all of you, including you, to be more active and participate in the open source community and building what we think is a better future for money. So thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate it. And we look forward to staying in touch. If you can share your Twitter or a Nostr account, that would be wonderful for us to include at some point. We'd love to be able to follow you. I already followed
Sure,
you, but
sure. My Twitter is at L Radionov, like L Alexander in my surname. You can see it in the title without dots, without spaces, without underlines. Yeah, L Radionov, just like that.
I think I have
That's
it.
my Twitter.
Got it.
Yeah.
And we look forward to following you and staying in touch.
Great. Thank you for inviting. I appreciate it really much too. And thank you, listeners, for following us. I wish you a pleasant Legends of Lightning Vol.2. And yeah,
Oh, and send us
great.
the link to your research so we can add it to our.
Sure. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, wonderful. Very nice
Great.
to meet you, Alexander.
Nice to meet you too. Bye bye.